Hey everybody, how's it going? So this is a sad piece of news here that demonstrates just how lovely New York City can be. So they were talking about the fact that a lot of the delivery workers get their electric bikes stolen. And one of the things that many of them do is they try to make it look as shitty as possible. It's one of the things that I do with one of my bikes. So I have one bike that is actually put together nicely, and then I have another bike that I have like wires hanging out of it that aren't even attached to anything. I've added a bunch of dirt. I cut up the bag the battery goes in and I wanted to kind of make it look like you would get electrocuted and die if you touched it. And I also go out of my way to make it look shittier than it actually is so that it doesn't become a target in the way that this one is. So what they did is they took an electric bicycle that looks pretty nice and they decided to lock it to, it admittedly was a very small lock, to it looks like a signpost in Manhattan. And it took less than 10 minutes for it to get stolen. So check this out. This is fucking sad.
E-bike.
And then I locked the bike up to this stop sign post.
Now, this is a really nice looking bike. Again, like this battery bag is nice. The colors all match. There's no wires exposed everywhere. So it actually looks expensive. This is actually considerably cheaper than one of mine, but it looks expensive, which is what is going to screw you.
To see if any bike thieves come on by.
How long did we have to wait? Just 10 minutes. Watch as
Look at
this
him.
guy
Look at
strolls
him.
up. He sizes up the bike, then bam! He rips it right off. Then he
Nobody
hops
cares.
on and speeds off.
There he goes.
Time
So
to
dumb he doesn't
track
even
him
kick up the
down.
kickstand.
He can move.
Now, they put a tracker on the bike. So they have a little GPS tracker on it. So they figured out where it's from. And check this out.
This is my bike.
I don't
Who took my bike?
But everyone here says they don't have a clue how the bike got there.
Somebody took the bike and put it under the tarp.
I don't know, and if I knew, I wouldn't say nothing.
Sounds pretty
I don't know, and if I knew, I wouldn't say nothing. And then you got this guy over here with the chin bra. Again, beautiful.
fishy.
We got our bike back, but the guy who stole it is long gone. We caught him on camera, but we might never see that man again.
Now, when they said they caught him on camera, but they're never going to see that man again, that is true. You may think that if you have something on camera, that it means that the crime is actually going to be prosecuted. That couldn't be further from the case. Again, how about this? I actually stopped reporting petty things at some point because I recognized that nothing will ever happen. I've had crap with bikes before happen like that. For instance, I had a bag get stolen about a week and a half ago. I filed a police report. The place that has camera footage, like high-resolution camera footage of the face of the person that did it and their credit card record because they paid with a credit card at this establishment, only has a certain amount of days until the footage is deleted because, they don't have a 32 terabyte NVR. They have, your cheap NVR with maybe like a 4 or 8 terabyte drive in there. So I filed a police report. It has been over 1 week since I filed my police report. They have not actually walked over 3 blocks from 5th Street to St. Mark's Place to get the footage. So most likely when they do go over there, if they ever do actually go over there, the footage will have been overwritten and gone. So even when you actually do have footage of a criminal doing something, you may think, I have 1080p footage of them doing this. They'll be able to get them dead to rights. No, because nobody actually cares and nobody does anything when these types of things happen. And sadly, the same is true for the police. And when you see stats on, quote, crime going down, one thing that you must understand and realize is that so many people just don't even bother reporting crime because they know that nothing will actually be done about it. Now, this is really sad because when you're talking about these delivery bikes here, these Arrow 7s and Arrow 9s, by the way, if you wonder why they are covered in tape and all this other shit, a lot of people will cover them in crap to make them look shittier and not new so that they are less desirable to thieves. Unfortunately, as they become more common, more thieves understand that when they see a bike that looks like this, that it is actually worth $1,200 or $1,500 or $1,800, depending on the configuration. Those bikes are the delivery dude's livelihood. So when you see those Grubhub or Seamless or DoorDash people going back and forth, I know some of these people. They wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. They get to work immediately. They don't get home until 1 a.m. They sleep for probably 5 or 6 hours, and then they go back to work. It is a really, really tough living to be able to afford to live in this city. Many of them are people that just came here from another country. They work their balls off 12 to 17 hours a fucking day, and it is really bad when you look at how shit they get paid, that when they finally save up money over 5 or 6 months to be able to get one of these bikes so that they can make more deliveries and make more money. When you're a delivery dude with the salaries that they get and you have something that's worth almost $2,000 get taken from you, that is not something that they just go to, a credit card, just get another one or something like that. It hurts. It destroys their livelihood. It destroys their ability to make money. It fucks with their family. And it's really sad that stuff like that it continues to happen. You know, one of the things that I've said is I usually use about 3 separate locks on my bike when I lock it up someplace, and even then people will still find a way to take it. You know, we look like those $100 kryptonite U-lock things. I'll lock up front wheel, back wheel, and frame, just so that if somebody cuts through one of them, they still have to cut through another one, and then another one just for the bike to be usable. And I found that that's the bare minimum that I have to do to be able to lock it outside without it getting taken. And one thing that I find is even if I do all of that work to lock it up, sometimes you can see that they tried to cut it and they failed, or they cut one but they didn't cut the other, so they couldn't take the bike because they didn't have enough time. So instead of just having some sort of honor among thieves where they say, well, I guess if we couldn't get it, I guess, you know, if we couldn't have the bike, well, we'll come back next time. We'll try and solve it. What they often tend to do, and this is really pathetic, is they'll just slice the tires, slice the brake lines, and shit like that. Rather than having some honor, which is if I steal the bike, I steal the bike. If I don't steal the bike, it's yours. They go full bitch and say, if I can't steal the bike, then you can't have it either. I'm going to cut your tire and brake line. Wah! As if, like, there's really just not... There used to be some basic honor among thieves. Like, when I was a kid, if they could steal your bike, they'd take it. If they couldn't steal your bike, you'd see that your lock looked fucked up, and they'd come back next time. But now I'm seeing a lot of, like, I'm going to take your bell off. I'm going to, cut your light wire and shit like that. And it really is sad. And I do hope that when you actually have people on video in 1080p, that more people report it and more people do push the police to actually do something about it. Because right now it's just, there's a lot... I'll be honest, I don't usually bother reporting a lot of when stuff like this happens because I know that nothing will ever actually get done, even when I do have footage, even if I have the person's name. But I've decided to stop doing that because one person in my comments pointed out, if you don't report it, then that city will get to lie about their crime stats and say, look, see, crime is going down, even though it is not. So even if they don't actually do anything about it, you should report it so that politicians and bureaucrats cannot lie to people. So I do. And I know that even though somebody that took my stuff, he's on a 1080p camera, clear view of his face, everything else, they got, last 4 of the credit card from the credit card receipt and all that, I know that they're never actually going to make the 3-block walk over to the place to get the footage before it actually gets taken. I'm aware. And I feel bad for the people that get their bikes taken because they're never going to get them back. I forget if it was Seattle. I think there was one guy in Seattle, and what he did is he got so tired of the fact that the police were not doing anything that he became like the bike Batman. Let me see if I could find that. He actually went on Craigslist. Yeah, this dude, this is crazy. He actually went on Craigslist looking for bikes that were reported stolen, and then he would show up, and then he would check the serial, or he would check something, and then figure out that this was actually your bike, and then he would just say up front, yo, man, I know you stole this. Like, what are you going to do? And then he would return it to their owner. And it's really, it's really interesting how a random engineer... And again, engineers are not typically known for their crime-fighting capabilities in real life or their, their toughness and gruffness, are more effective at returning stolen merchandise than the police that are tasked and trained with that particular job. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something.